Not every story is meant to be told. Some are locked away, hidden in the dark, left to decay in silence. But this one has waited too long. It wants to be heard.
They don't tell you the truth before you sign up. The Black Vault isn't a prison. It's a waiting room for the end of the world. And my job? I make sure the doors stay shut. They don't call it that officially. On paper, it's a secure containment facility for non-human threats. In reality, it's a dumping ground for everything the world pretends doesn't exist. Creatures that don't obey the laws of biology. Things that wear human skin but don't understand what we are.
Entities that break time.
Space. Logic. Whatever rules you thought the universe followed, they all end up here.
I've worked here long enough to know that survival depends on following the rules. Some are simple, some are insane, but every single one of them was written in blood. Rule 1. Never acknowledge a copy. It happens sometimes. You'll be walking your patrol, passing by the glass of a containment cell, and you'll see something that looks like you staring back. Not a reflection, not a trick of the light. Another you. Don't react. Don't stop. Don't let it know you saw it. If you do, it won't be trapped in there anymore.
But I guess you can guess who will be the one trapped instead.
Rule 2. Do not talk to the ones who remember you. We cycle through a lot of prisoners. Some we lock away, some don't last that long. But sometimes, a prisoner you don't recognize will call you by name. Or worse, they'll know something about your past. Ignore them. If you respond, you'll start to remember them too, and that's how it gets inside your head. Rule 3. If you hear the siren in your sleep, wake up. The facility has emergency alarms. You get used to them, but there's a different one. A low, pulsing sound that no one else hears. If it wakes you up, if you hear it in your dreams, get up. Move. Now. These are just a few of the rules we live by. There are more. Some written, some whispered, some you don't learn until it's too late. But tonight, I have a job to do. A new arrival is being delivered. One with Black Ops clearance. One that wasn't supposed to be caught. I stand by the security barricade as the freight doors hiss open. The air pressure changes instantly. It always does when a Black Ops retrieval team enters the vault. 6 men in full combat gear, masks down, rifles locked. They come in fast and silent, pulling a containment pod behind them. It's larger than usual, thicker walls, reinforced steel, hydraulic locks pulsing under the surface. And the most important detail, the pod is shaking. The lead operative doesn't look at me. None of them ever do. These guys don't exist outside of missions like this. But this time, I recognize one of them. A scar along his jaw, a man I've seen bring in nightmares before. But tonight, he looks shaken. The containment team moves in. Ruiz is with them. He's been here longer than I have. We don't speak. We never speak during transfer. Because if you're unlucky, sometimes the thing inside the pod will answer, and you don't want to hear your own voice come back. We wheel the shaking pod toward the freight elevator. I check the manifest. No name, no description. Unknown. I tighten my grip on the transport cart. Ruiz glances at the manifest, then at me. Unknown means something they don't have a classification for yet. Something new. Something worse. The elevator doors slide open. We push the pod inside. Ruiz presses the button. For a second, the numbers change, like something else is pressing them. Like something inside the system is making its own choices. Then the doors close, and we start to descend. The pod stops shaking. The pressure changes. Everything feels too still. Then, a sound. Not from inside the pod. From behind us, from the empty elevator, a slow, steady clicking, like fingernails against steel, like something is waiting. I've worked here long enough to know one thing. Not everything we catch was meant to be contained. Some things are meant to stay outside. The freight elevator hums as it descends, the containment pod still silent behind us. Ruiz stands stiff beside me, fingers drumming against the grip of his rifle. We're both watching the same thing. The reflection in the elevator doors, not the pod, not each other, but the space between us, because something is standing there. We don't turn. We don't acknowledge it. Because Rule 4, if something new appears in a reflection, ignore it. It only becomes real if you recognize it. The elevator shudders as we reach sublevel 6. The doors slide open. The temperature drops instantly. Ruiz moves first, grabs the containment cart, starts pushing it forward, fast, like he doesn't want to linger here. I can still see the reflection in the elevator doors. Still see something else standing between us. The vault doesn't operate like a normal prison. We don't have cells for some of the things here. We have containment zones. Some are reinforced chambers, lined with pressure-sealed titanium walls to keep whatever's inside from seeping out. Some are just holes, deep, silent pits in the ground where things are dropped in and never spoken of again. We don't always know if they die down there. We just know they don't come back up. The pod is scheduled for Chamber 617. That means it's something new, something they don't understand yet, and that is the part that scares me. We turn the last corner, rolling the pod into position. The containment chamber is waiting. Thick steel door, soundproofed, vacuum sealed. Whatever goes in doesn't come out. At least that's the theory. Ruiz steps to the control panel, initiates the locking sequence. The pod whines, hydraulics releasing pressure. The security lights dim. Then the intercom crackles to life, and the warden's voice comes through. Stop. Ruiz freezes. We both do. The warden never interferes during transfers. New orders, he says. Take it to sublevel 7. Ruiz slowly turns his head. I don't move, don't breathe, because that's not a containment level. That's where things go when we're done trying to contain them. That's where things are erased from existence. Ruiz doesn't argue. He just turns, grabs the cart, and starts pushing again. But I see it, the way his hands shake, because he knows something is very wrong. We take the last elevator down. The pressure changes, my ears pop. The lights overhead dim to a dark red glow. The air feels thicker. And then, for the first time since we picked up the pod, something moves inside, a low wet scrape. Not metal, not machinery, something alive, something shifting against the walls, feeling them, testing them. Ruiz and I don't speak. The elevator slows, the doors slide open, and for a second, I swear I see something standing outside. A tall, thin silhouette, no face, no movement. Then the lights flicker and it's gone. The room ahead isn't like the other containment zones. It's just an empty black space. No walls, no doors, just a chasm. Like the vault just ends here. The warden's voice crackles through the intercom again. Proceed. Ruiz pushes the pod forward. I follow. The floor feels different, softer, like we're walking over a living entity. We reach the edge. The black void opens beneath us. Ruiz stops. We both stare down. There's no bottom, no walls, just empty space. The warden says nothing. The pod shifts again. Something inside presses against the glass, not hard enough to see, but enough that we feel it looking. Ruiz's fingers tighten. His breathing goes sharp. It's not locked up. My stomach turns. I know what he means. The lock's never engaged. The steel wasn't holding it inside. I don't get the chance to react. The vault shudders. The air groans, and before I can even blink, the pod drops straight into the black. It's gone. The moment it vanishes, the lights snap back on, the weight in the air evaporates, the feeling of being watched disappears, like it was never there at all. Ruiz turns, heads straight for the elevator. We don't talk, there's nothing to say, we both know. That wasn't containment. That was something else, something worse. The elevator doors shut. The hum of the vault returns to normal, but before we leave, I check my reflection in the metal doors, and for a split second, I see a third person standing with us. Then the doors slide open, and we step out like nothing happened. They don't tell us what's inside the pods. They never do. Black Ops comes in. They drop it off. They leave. The containment team moves in, pushing the pod into position. It's massive, twice the usual size. Thicker walls, triple layer reinforcement, and on the surface, scratch marks. Not deep, not destructive, just a pattern. Long, deliberate, curving like writing in a language no one speaks anymore. Ruiz and I move it onto the freight elevator. A document is clipped to the front. I glance at it. There's no classification, no category, just a name. The Collector. The only entry in the file is a single paragraph. It says the retrieval team was sent to an abandoned church in Siberia. No combat reported, no bodies, just one man missing. We step out, wheeling the pod forward. The sound in the vault is different tonight. Usually, the deep levels are silent. But now, there's a faint clicking noise, like teeth tapping together, like something waiting to be fed. We reach the containment door. I slide my clearance card. The pod's locks disengage. A sharp hiss, like the whole thing is exhaling. For a second, I swear I see something shift beneath the steel, not movement. Just a flicker of a shadow where there shouldn't be one, like something almost stepping forward, then deciding not to. Ruiz activates the vault lock. The chamber door seals. It's done. Or at least that's what we think, until the lights go out. I think it's just a power fluctuation. Then I feel it. Something in the dark with us, a presence, not breathing, not moving, just there, like a shape cut out of reality itself. I hear the voices, whispers, low, not words, just fragments of sound, familiar, too familiar. I try to focus, try to block it out, but then I hear my own voice. Hey, over here. My stomach drops. I turn to Ruiz. He's frozen, his eyes wide, staring at the opposite wall. I follow his gaze, and my blood runs cold. The surface of the containment pod is gone, not broken, not destroyed, just gone. Like it was never there, like whatever was inside was never inside at all. And the walls of the chamber, they're covered in faces, dozens of them, stretched like trophies, mouths open in silent screams, eyes frozen in eternal horror. And one of them is mine. Ruiz lunges for the exit, slams the emergency override, steel doors slam shut. The lights flash back on, everything looks normal again. The pod is still sealed, the faces are gone like it never happened. Ruiz turns to me, and his face goes pale. Where's your name tag? I glance down, and for a moment, I don't understand. Then I see it, or rather, I don't. My name tag is gone. So is my ID card. So is every record of me in the system. I step toward the scanner. Access denied. Ruiz stares at me like he's looking at a ghost. I reach for my radio. Nothing. No frequency. No signal. Like I was never here. Like I was never part of this place. Like I was just another thing the Collector took. Ruiz's breathing is shaky. He steps back. Like he's unsure if I'm even real anymore. Like I'm something wearing my own skin. And maybe I am. I know what just happened. I know what I saw. But when I step toward the scanner again, my hand shaking, the words flash across the screen. Access denied. My name isn't in the system. My ID is gone, like I was never here, like something else took my place. And behind me, Ruiz is still staring, like he's looking at a ghost, like he's not sure if I'm real anymore. There's a moment, just 1 second, where I feel something shift, like the space between me and the walls just got wider, like the room itself is deciding whether I should exist, like I'm on the verge of slipping through. Then, Ruiz moves, slams the override key. The emergency lockdown sequence engages. Contained. And just like that, the scanner flashes green. My name is back, like nothing happened, like it was just a glitch. But it wasn't, because when I turn to Ruiz, he's already walking away, and before he leaves, he mutters, just loud enough to hear, "You're not the first." Then the doors slide shut behind him, leaving me alone. I don't go back to my room. Not after that. I just walk. Through the cold halls of sub-level 6, past the sealed chambers, past the warning signs scratched into the doors by men who didn't make it out. I've worked here long enough to know the real rules, the ones that aren't written down, the ones you only learn when it's too late. And tonight, I learned something new. Some of the people who work here, some of them never left. Some of them never should have been here at all. And now I know why. Because I almost became one of them, the hollow ones. I keep walking. My steps are slow, my hands still unsteady. I feel like I just got dragged back into reality by force, like something had already erased me, and only Ruiz overriding the system pulled me back before it was too late. I don't want to think about what happens when someone doesn't override it. Then, somewhere in the distance, I hear footsteps. Slow, deliberate, not from behind me, ahead. In a hallway no one has clearance for anymore, the hollow wing. I don't stop walking, because if I stop, I'll think. And if I think too much, I'll start to understand. And I know what happens to people who understand the wrong things in the Black Vault. The footsteps continue, close now, and then a voice, low, distant, coming from a hallway that hasn't been used in years. "Hey, over here." I freeze. That's my voice, but it's not an echo, not a recording. It's real, and it's coming from the dark. I force myself to breathe. My hand twitches toward my radio, but I stop myself, because there's no one to call, because whatever this is, it's already inside. The footsteps stop, just out of sight, waiting. Then another voice, soft, familiar, from a person I know for a fact is dead. "You almost joined us tonight." I don't respond, I don't move, because I know the rules. Rule 2, do not talk to the ones who remember you. They're not real, they're not people, they're just things wearing old names, waiting for you to invite them back in. The light above me buzzes, flickers. For just a second, the hallway stretches. The floor beneath me shifts. The space ahead grows wider, like a mouth, like a place that wants me to step inside, like it's making room. I turn, I walk away. Not fast, not slow, just steady. Because if you run, it chases you. Because if you show fear, it knows you believe in it. And once you believe in it, it can touch you. The whispers don't follow me. Not at first. But just as I reach the next corridor, just before I step into the normal halls of the vault again, I hear something. Not a voice, not a whisper, just a single slow clap. Then silence. I don't sleep after that. I don't try to explain what happened. I just sit in the security office, watching the camera feeds, every hall, every containment cell, every shadow, waiting, wondering if I'll see myself again. And at 3:17 a.m. in the south corridor, I do. Not a glitch, not an illusion, just a man in my uniform, standing in the dark. His head tilted, like he's waiting for me to say something, for me to acknowledge him. But I don't. I mute the feed and I turn off the screen because I know the rule now. I know why I survived tonight, because Ruiz knew what to do. And now, so do I. Rule 6. If you see yourself in the cameras, it's already too late. So don't look, don't listen, don't give it a name, because that's how you become one of them. That's how you become hollow. That's how the Black Vault collects you. We track everything in the Black Vault, every creature, every anomaly, every unclassified horror that gets dragged into this place. Nothing arrives without a record. Nothing. That's why, when the freight elevator doors slid open at 4:13 a.m., I felt my stomach drop. Because the containment pod sitting there, the one that just arrived on its own, it wasn't on the manifest, it wasn't on any records, and it shouldn't be here. Ruiz stands beside me. Neither of us speaks. We both know what this means. This isn't a Black Ops delivery. No team reported it. No retrieval mission logged. No clearance code. It's just here. Like it was never meant to be found. Like someone or something left it behind. Or worse, like it never needed to be delivered. Like it was always here, waiting. Ruiz doesn't move. I sure as hell don't either. Then the intercom crackles. The warden's voice comes through. Move it to sub-level 5. That's it. No explanation. No hesitation. The warden never asks questions, because he already knows the answers. And that's what scares me most. Moving the pod, the air feels wrong as we approach the container. Not charged with electricity, not heavy with pressure, just off, like it's barely there, like it's only half existing. Ruiz presses the lock override, the wheels disengage, we start pushing. Sub-level 5 isn't as deep as some of the other floors, but that doesn't mean it's safe. This is where we keep the things we don't quite understand. The ones that don't fit any known category. The ones that shouldn't exist, but do. The elevator ride is silent. Ruiz and I don't speak. We just keep our hands tight on the handles, keep our eyes forward. Because deep down, we're both thinking the same thing. If this wasn't delivered by Black Ops, then where the hell did it come from? The doors open, we push the pod into position, and the second we stop, it starts moving. Something inside. It's not shaking, not violently rattling, just shifting. Something inside is adjusting itself. I grip the handle tighter. Ruiz stiffens. Then the breathing starts. It's not a sound, not mechanical, not even truly audible. It's just a presence, a weight in the air, like something inside is inhaling, like it's tasting the air, like it knows we're here, and it's deciding what to do about it. We shouldn't have touched this. And for the first time tonight, I completely agree with him. Then the pod clicks. Just once. Just enough to let us know it's unlocked. Ruiz moves first, not out of bravery, just instinct. His rifle is raised. His stance is solid, but I can see the tension in his grip. He doesn't want to open it. Neither do I, but the warden gave the order, and you don't ignore the warden. Ruiz presses the release. The pod hisses. The locks disengage. The front splits open, and inside, there's nothing. No creature, no body, no sign of anything ever being there, just a single folded piece of paper, sitting in the center of the empty containment field. Ruiz and I don't move. For a long time we just stare, because we both feel it now, that wrongness in the air, that pressure that shouldn't be here. Not from inside the pod, from around us. Like the vault itself is holding its breath. Like something is watching. And then Ruiz reaches in and picks up the note. The paper is old, not yellowed, not crumbling, just aged in a way that doesn't make sense. Ruiz unfolds it. Then he reads it aloud, and the words send ice straight into my spine. You were never supposed to find this. I don't think. I don't breathe. Because suddenly, the air shifts. The pod slams shut. Ruiz drops the paper. The lights flicker. A low, static noise fills the room. And then, through the intercom, we hear it. This is Black Ops Team 7. Containment drop confirmed. Ruiz and I stare at each other. We both know the truth. Black Ops never brought this. We just found it sitting here. So if they're delivering it now, then what the hell did we just open? The intercom cuts out. The lights snap back to normal. The static vanishes. And the pod is gone. Not moved, not removed, just erased. Like it was never here at all. Like it was just a mistake in reality itself. Ruiz exhales slowly. He looks at the note still lying on the ground. Then at me, and I know what he's thinking. Because I'm thinking the same damn thing. We were never supposed to find this, but we did. And now, something knows we did. Something outside the vault. Something watching. Something waiting. And it just corrected its mistake. Some things in the Black Vault don't move. They don't scream. They don't lunge at the glass. Don't claw at the walls. But that doesn't mean they're not dangerous, because some of the worst things we've ever contained, they don't need to move. They just wait. And when you finally notice them, it's already too late. The new package comes in just before midnight, not from Black Ops, not from an external retrieval team. This one comes from inside the vault, which means it wasn't captured. It was found. And that makes it worse. Ruiz and I wheel the containment unit down to sub-level 4. It's not like the others. No hydraulics, no reinforced steel, just a thick glass case, about 6 feet tall, wrapped in a containment cloth. Silent, motionless, but I feel it, that prickling sensation at the base of my skull, like something is watching me, even though I know it isn't. The manifest is thin. 2 pages, the description is just 1 sentence long. Recovered from Site 12. Do not uncover outside of secure containment. That's it. No warnings, no category, no explanation of what Site 12 even is. But I already know, Site 12 was erased, not abandoned, not destroyed, erased. Like it was never there, like something made every record of it disappear. And the only reason we even know it existed because one retrieval team made it back, or at least, most of them did. Ruiz pulls up the containment controls. Ready, he mutters. I don't answer, because I know something he doesn't. Rule 7. If you find an object with no record, do not look at it. We shouldn't be handling this. The warden should be overseeing it personally, but tonight, he isn't here. So it's just us, and a thing wrapped in cloth that shouldn't exist. Ruiz deactivates the locks. The glass hisses open. The containment cloth unfolds, and beneath it, I see what we've brought down here. I see the last thing Site 12 ever found. A mirror. Not glass. Not a reflection. Something else. Something alive. And for a split second, I see myself, not looking at me, looking past me, like I'm already gone. The mirror doesn't show the room. It doesn't reflect anything. It's like looking into deep, red water, like blood, endless, waiting. And if you look too long, you start to see things inside it. Ruiz turns away fast, too fast, like he felt it pulling him in, like he almost leaned forward. And that's when I see it. The first handprint, pressed against the inside of the glass, like something just touched it from the other side. I take a step back. The temperature in the room drops. Ruiz exhales, and I see his breath in the air. This isn't right. The vault is climate controlled. This level never gets cold. Then the second handprint appears. Higher, near the top of the glass, and this time, there's a face behind it. Not mine, not Ruiz's, someone else, a shape in the deep red reflection, no color, no light, just a dark figure watching us. Ruiz grabs my arm. Lock it back up, now. I don't argue. We move fast, seal the chamber, re-engage containment. But before the cloth covers the glass again, I see something, just for a second. Something stepping forward, something closer than before, something wearing my face. Then the locks engage. The glass is sealed. The cloth wraps over it, and the room feels normal again. But Ruiz and I don't move, because we both felt it. That thing inside, it knows we saw it. We send the incident report to the warden. No response, no acknowledgement, just silence. Like he already knew this would happen. Like he already knew what we'd find. And when I check the security logs the next morning, there's no record of us ever handling it. No file update, no clearance code, no evidence we were ever there. Just a single new entry in the database, added sometime after we left. And when I open it, it's not a report, it's not a security log, it's a photo, a still image of me standing in front of the blood mirror with something standing right behind me. I turn off the screen. I don't check again, because some things in the vault, they see you back. And once they do, they don't stop watching.